Well, we're going to start right off with something that Toastmasters love. They love mnemonics. Does everybody know what a mnemonic is? Well, if you don't, you're going to find out real quick. So a mnemonic is this, letters that relate to different words. My mnemonic is WIN. It stands very simply for words, images, and numbers. These are the three basic components, the basic tools of a good PowerPoint presentation. So words are use few words. Get as many words off the screen as possible. Images, use big, bold images to develop emotions, to show your ideas, to build backgrounds, to show how professional you are. And finally, make your numbers pop. If you're going to have numbers, don't put them in a graph that's got 500 numbers in it and do a pointer, a laser pointer to show people what number you want them to talk about. Show them the big number so that they can get the idea, so that you can deliver your idea clearly and succinctly. So let's jump right in. Let me show you how to work with words. This is probably the most important thing you can do. It's so simple, and yet very few people do it. If you do this for your presentation, you're going to make leap years ahead of where you were before. So take a slide like this. I got this slide years ago from a client. It's about diabetes. They wanted me to build a presentation for them. And so the first thing I do when I'm looking at a slide like this, I'm looking at words like this, I want to find the keywords. I want to find the words that are in red. I want to find the words that have to be on the screen, the words that I need to cue me so that I know what I'm going to be talking about, and so that the audience can see what they're going to be hearing about in this presentation. The rest of those words can disappear. So I'll put together a slide that looks something like this. Now, all those words are gone, but they're in my head. I can deliver them. I'm the expert. I know what to talk about. So each one of these pieces, each one of these bullet points are something that I'm an expert at and I can talk about. The audience doesn't need to be reading it off the screen. They need to be paying attention to me. I'm the star of the show. So I want to focus their attention back at me. So that's why you get all those words off the screen. Then what you can do is you want to do something exciting to it, add a graphic. Something like this, very simple, no big deal. It really doesn't add anything to the context of the slide. It just adds a professional look. Just a little bit of graphic can make a big difference in a slide. Or if you change the graphic, you can change it to something that changes the emotion or the content completely. Now this is a slide that could be used for a parents group if you're talking to a parents group about diabetes. The slide before could be something that you'd use to talk to professionals or medical people about. So that graphic, even though the slide hasn't changed, that graphic can change the entire feel of it. Also, this is an emotional slide. This is a slide that's got a kid in it. It's got a person in it. People love to see people. They love to see faces. They love to see eyes. Very, very critical. If you're going to put together a presentation and you want to touch people's emotions, that's how you do it. So the next thing to do is images. Now, images this is the greatest thing you can do with PowerPoint. Very few people will leverage this completely. But you can do so many really cool things with images. You can connect with your audience in so many ways that are so powerful. This is a slide that I worked on a few years back for a client. He wanted to show different educational techniques for children and how they would be received by a child. So I found this image. I thought this was a very engaging image and it had a lot of space on it. So I overlaid some type on it. So now this slide has an emotional content to it, but it also has the content that is important for the speaker to deliver to his clients when he's presenting this slide. And he would tell me years later that he makes sure that this slide is always in his deck because everybody's always commenting on this little tiny girl and the thing that he talks about praising them for their effort instead of for their intellect. It's a whole long story about the content of the slide. But anyway, this is what I consider to be a home run for me. I really felt very, very proud of this slide, and I think this really does the trick in terms of communicating and connecting with an audience. This is another slide I did for a electric utility. We could have put a utility truck on there. Could have put people with a hard hat or something like that. But this is their community. This is the people that they serve. This is who they want to connect with and they want to show empathy for. So putting an image like this on there, they're a rural electric cooperative. I forget exactly where they're located, somewhere in Tennessee or something. But this image helps them, and it was just at an internal meeting, but it helps them refocus themselves as to who they are, who they're serving, who they're connected with in the community. This is a slide I did for the people at the CDC. They were talking about flu pandemic and telling people, beware, beware. This was in 2018. Beware, beware. There's a possibility of an epidemic coming up. And so we put together a presentation. They were trying to tell people to be worried about this. And they almost got it right. A great thing to do with an image is to put a quote on it. It's terrific. You can find all sorts of quotes. You can find all sorts of images to put as a background. I love doing this. It's a great way to do as a transition between sections of your presentation. It's just another opportunity to lighten the mood, perhaps, connect with your audience, show them something different. Or you can use sex. Very, very easy. He's pretty cute, I know. Teach, be careful.
That's AI.
I don't know who that is, but boy, he's been working out. I'll tell you what.
It's Chris.
I think it's John. Anyway, it sells, right? Or you can have humor. This is something that's always very well.
Dr. Jellyfinger.
So, and the nice thing about something like this is you can create humor for a presentation without being funny. You don't have to be a comedian. You can just build this in, and if you know somebody in the audience or some way you want to connect with people, this is great. I did something like this with Kumar once, and it was terrific. It was a great thing. So, PowerPoint has so many different ways you can use to connect with people, to motivate people, to inspire them, to keep their attention. And images is probably the most powerful way to do it. So now we've got numbers, the last thing. Numbers are interesting. You can have charts and graphs and all sorts of numbers. If you're in business and you're doing a business presentation, you have lots and lots of numbers that you have to deliver. But one of the most important things to do is pull a number out that's a critical number for your audience to understand. The slide I had before this, and I took it out because I wanted to make sure I had enough time today, was just a list of like 30 or 40 different healthcare metrics. And this was one of them. So putting this in as a slide after that shows this is the number I want to talk about. If we're having a discussion about healthcare spending in this room, this is the number, I guess that's $5 trillion. And it's, that really burns it in as compared to having a whole graph and just circling the number that's important. This is another way of doing it. You can have a little bit of fun with it. This seems like a low count to me, but I don't know. Or you could do a chart. You could add a graphic to it, something like that. So there's lots of different ways you can add numbers. And then one of the cool things about adding numbers is adding them on, layering on top of an image. The image carries some of the background noise, background information, some of the emotional content, and like the one of the pregnant lady. But the number is the number you want to talk about. So you're kind of developing two different things at the same time. Here's another one I did for one of my clients. Evidently, they had discovered that a third of the people that show up at work at a hospital have their clothing contaminated, and they were selling scrubs, or they were sterilizing scrubs. So this was a very important component for them. So this is a huge number for them, and this would really zero in for the people that they were trying to talk to when they went to a hospital and try to make this point. This is another little graphic. That's me on the left. And this is a great way to demonstrate things. that are not necessarily, you don't necessarily want to go into detail about, but you can just give a quick idea about what the situation is with a graphic like this. So let's review real quick. It's very simple. Remember the WIN formula, W-I-N. I know it's not as wonderful as Susie Sunshine's evaluate, but W is for use few words. Use few words. Number 2 is about use big, bold images. Don't be afraid to put an image on the entire screen. You got all this real estate. Use it to build emotion or to build a background. And number 3 is make your numbers pop. Make the numbers that you're going to deliver to your audience important. And then if you do that, you're going to be a superstar, and the Duke will be happy with you.